The galaxy was old. Empires had risen and fallen, but one still stood tall, the Vorthian Empire. It ruled thousands of worlds, spreading its control with cold hands and steel hearts. The Vorthians believed they were the peak of evolution, the masters of all species that crawled beneath the stars. In the great halls of the Empire, alien generals spoke with pride and arrogance. They laughed when new worlds were found. To them, every new discovery was just another planet to conquer, another race to enslave. But one day, their long-range scanners detected something unusual. A small blue planet, sitting quietly in a distant arm of the galaxy. "Designation?" asked Grand Admiral Kreth, staring at the hologram. The technician replied, "Local name, Earth. The natives call themselves humans." The Admiral raised a brow. Humans. He looked at the data scrolling across the screen. Gravity, atmosphere, population. Then he smirked. Primitive. Barely spacefaring. Still using chemical rockets? Laughter filled the command bridge. The Empire had seen countless weak species before. Some had forearms, some had wings, some had minds sharper than knives, but all of them fell. And these humans? They looked fragile. The report continued. No planetary shields. No faster-than-light travel. No known energy weapons, the Admiral chuckled. A perfect target for training exercises? In the Empire's capital, news of the discovery spread quickly. Politicians and officers spoke with amusement. A world full of flesh and fear, one said. They will surrender as soon as they see our ships. But not everyone was laughing. A scientist named Rennell, who had studied countless alien civilizations, frowned at the data. Something feels off, he said to his assistant. Their technology is primitive, yes, but look at the rate of progress. They went from horses to spaceflight in less than 3 centuries. His assistant shrugged. So what? They are still weak, Rennell replied quietly. Weak does not mean harmless. Still, his warning was ignored. The Emperor himself made a speech. His voice echoed through the Empire's channels. We, the Vorthians, have found a new world to enlighten or destroy. These humans will kneel before our flag, just like all the others. Across the galaxy, the order was given. The 7th Imperial Fleet was to travel to the Sol system and demand Earth's surrender. When the human satellites first detected the strange signals, scientists on Earth thought it was just noise until the sky above Mars shimmered. Massive ships appeared, dark and metallic, each the size of a city. The Empire had arrived at first. The humans sent a message. It was simple and peaceful. We come in peace. We wish to communicate. The aliens received the message and laughed again. Peace, the Admiral said. They still believe in peace while facing an empire. How? Cute. He ordered a broadcast to Earth. This is Admiral Kreth of the Vorthian Empire. You will surrender your planet and your people. You will provide resources to the Empire. Failure to comply will result in total destruction. The humans went silent. On the Empire's ship, they waited for a reply. Minutes turned to hours. Finally, a message came back. It was a human voice, calm and steady. This is Earth Command. We don't surrender. The bridge erupted with laughter once again. Foolish, one officer said. They don't understand what's coming. Admiral Kreth frowned. Send the drones. Let them see our power. Thousands of metal drones descended through Earth's atmosphere. Cities across the planet looked up in fear. News stations showed glowing orbs hovering over oceans and deserts. Then, suddenly, all the drones exploded midair. The Empire's sensors went dark. Every feed from every drone cut off at once. What happened? Kreth barked. Unknown interference, the technician stammered. Some kind of electromagnetic pulse. It came from their planet. The Admiral's eyes narrowed. They have EMP technology? Silence. No one had expected resistance, not from a species, still learning to walk among the stars. Then another message came from Earth. You came to our home. Now, we will prepare. That was the last transmission before Earth went completely quiet. No radio, no satellite signals, just silence. The Admiral smiled darkly. They hide in fear, he said. Let them. When we return, we will burn their cities to ash. But deep below Earth's surface, in secret bases and underground bunkers, humanity was not hiding. They were building. Scientists worked without sleep. Soldiers trained under red lights. Engineers whispered about a project that didn't officially exist, a fleet built in secret. It's faster, smarter, and stronger than anything before. The Empire had laughed at humanity. They had mocked their weakness. But they had forgotten one thing. Humans never stayed weak for long. In a cold, silent hangar, a commander watched as the first ship rose from its platform, black metal, glowing engines, and a name painted on its hull, Hope. Oh, he whispered. They think we're weak. Let's prove them wrong. The camera pans out to space, Earth glowing softly beneath the stars. Then, in the distance, the Empire's ships begin to move closer. The narrator's voice lowers. They laughed at humanity once. But soon, they would stop laughing. The Vorthian Empire believed the humans were finished. After the first encounter, their fleet returned to the capital. Carrying laughter and pride, Admiral Kreth stood before the Imperial Council. The humans resisted, he said with a grin, but they have no chance. We will crush them completely. The Emperor nodded slowly. Then, prepare the invasion. Earth will become another colony under our flag. The command was given, but far away. On the small blue planet, things were changing. Beneath the mountains, deep inside secret bunkers, Project Aegis had begun. It was the greatest cooperation in human history. Every nation, every scientist, every engineer worked together. Old enemies shared data. Rival countries shared resources. The world that once fought itself now stood united, not for power. Not for land, but for survival. In an underground command room, General Marcus Hale looked at the glowing table in front of him. Blue holograms showed enemy ships, flight patterns, and energy readings. He spoke calmly. They're faster, stronger, and they outnumber us 100-1. But they don't know what we're building. Beside him, scientist Dr. Lena Joe smiled tiredly. If we can finish the Aegis core in time, we can match their power. Maybe even stop them, and we'll finish it, the general replied. No matter what it takes. Above Earth, the skies were quiet. But satellites detected movement again. Small signals, faint but growing stronger every day. The Empire was preparing for invasion. Human leaders gathered one last time in an underground hall. Old flags hung behind them, now faded and torn. The president of the United Earth Council stood and spoke. Ladies and gentlemen, the Empire is coming back. They think we are weak. They think we are afraid. But we are not the same humans they saw last time. Paused, then said softly, we will not surrender. Not again, not ever. On the far side of the moon, giant hangars opened for the first time. Inside were dark ships, unlike anything built before. They were shaped like knives, silent and deadly. No bright lights, no markings. Built from stolen alien tech, combined with human creativity and pure willpower, .ai systems came online, one after another. Unit 01 operational. Unit 02 ready for deployment. Unit 03 online. Ship was connected to the Aegis core, a massive AI system hidden under the Pacific Ocean. Designed to think, adapt, and fight faster than any alien machine. Dr. Joe looked at the screen. They used to laugh at our technology, she whispered. Let's see if they laugh now. Meanwhile, in the Empire's capital, some began to notice strange things. Supply ships disappearing. Scout drones failing to return. Energy readings from the Sol system growing unstable. A young Vorthian officer entered Admiral Kreth's chamber. Sir, our long-range probes. They're being destroyed. Something's jamming our systems. Kreth frowned. By humans? Yes, sir. Impossible. Oh. He turned toward the stars, looking out of the massive window. Prepare the fleet. If they want war, we'll give them one. Back on Earth, tension filled every city. The world was silent, but not asleep. Factories worked day and night. Children were evacuated underground. Soldiers trained in zero-gravity simulators. Humanity was scared, but that fear had turned into fire. Commander Reyes, captain of the first Aegis-class ship, Hope, stood on the bridge. Her crew waited for her orders. "Status report," she said. "All systems ready. Aegis core link established." She took a deep breath. "Then let's begin." Her ship rose into orbit, joining a growing fleet of human warships hidden behind the moon's shadow. They didn't plan to strike first. They were waiting for the perfect moment. Weeks passed. Then one night, every human radar went wild. Dozens of warp signatures appeared at the edge of the solar system. The Empire had arrived. The Admiral's voice echoed through space. "People of Earth, you had your chance to surrender. Now, your world will burn." On Earth, alarms rang. The United Command came alive. General Hale looked at the monitor, his face calm but determined. "Send the message," he said. A short broadcast was transmitted across space. Only 6 words. "Leave our world. This is your warning." The alien officers laughed when they heard it. "A warning? From them?" one said mockingly. But Admiral Kreth didn't laugh this time. There was something in that human voice, cold, steady, confident. "Prepare for battle," he ordered. "Let's end this." As the Empire's fleet moved closer to Earth, sensors picked up faint energy spikes from the moon's shadow. Kreth frowned. "What is that?" Then, out of the darkness, hundreds of ships appeared. Black, silent. Their engines glowing blue like ghosts. The first officer gasped. "Sir, unidentified ships. They're human." Admiral Kreth stood frozen as the human fleet came into full view. Their formation was tight, their weapons charged. No fear, no hesitation. A transmission came through a human voice again. "This is the human fleet. You wanted war. Now you'll see how humans fight." The Empire's ships began to charge their cannons. The humans didn't wait. Commander Reyes raised her hand. Fire, blue light filled the void. The first Empire scout ship exploded instantly. Then another, and another. The humans had struck first with weapons faster and stronger than anything the Empire had ever seen. Admiral Kreth shouted, "Impossible. Their weapons? They shouldn't have this kind of power." But deep inside the Aegis core, human engineers smiled. They had cracked the Empire's technology and improved it. The battle had begun, and for the first time in history, the Empire realized something terrible. Humanity was no longer the prey. The Empire came to destroy them. But the humans had a different plan. This was no surrender. This was the beginning. Silence of space broke with thunder. Blue and red flashes tore through the darkness as the human fleet and the Empire's armada clashed for the first time. The stars themselves seemed to tremble. Admiral Kreth watched from the bridge of his command ship. Hundreds of human vessels were moving in perfect formation, small, fast, and deadly. Their engines burned bright blue, weaving through enemy fire like lightning. "How are they doing this?" an officer shouted. "They move faster than our sensors can track." Kreth growled. "Fire all cannons!" Wipe them out. Massive energy beams fired across space. Entire sectors lit up. But the humans didn't fight like any enemy the Empire had seen before. They didn't march forward in straight lines. They danced. Human ships split, twisted, and circled. They vanished from radar, then appeared again behind enemy cruisers. Striking weak points and vanishing into the dark, the Empire's fleet tried to follow their moves. But every second, another ship went dark, lost, destroyed, or disabled. "Sir?" the tactical officer shouted. "They're using some kind of data interference. Our targeting systems can't lock on." "Adapt," Kreth yelled. "They're just humans." But the word just no longer felt true. On board the U.S. Hope, Commander Reyes gripped the controls. "Target the flagship's engines," she ordered. Her crew nodded. A soft voice came through the speakers. The ship's AI, Aegis Unit 01, calculating firing solution. Probability of success, 87%? Do it. Blue light gathered at the ship's nose. A single shot, silent but deadly, cut through space and hit one of the Empire's destroyers. The explosion was blinding, direct hit. Her weapons officer shouted. Reyes smiled for the first time in days. Good. Let's make them remember this day. On Earth in the underground command center, General Hale watched the live feed from the fleet. The room was silent except for the sounds of beeping monitors and faint cheers. Dr. Joe whispered, "It's working. The Aegis AI is learning faster than expected." Hale nodded. "It's adapting to every attack they throw. Keep the links stable. We can't lose communication." She looked at him, her face half lit by the screens. "General, if we win this, humanity will change forever," he replied. "If we lose, there won't be a humanity." The Empire's command ships tried to regroup, but panic was spreading. "Sir, the humans are breaking through the left flank. Redirect all firepower. Shields down to 40%. Admiral Kreth slammed his hand on the console. "Enough of this chaos. Bring the dreadnoughts forward." Giant shadowy ships moved from behind the fleet, the Empire's most powerful war machines. Each was as large as a city, carrying weapons that could split moons. The humans had never faced anything like them. When the first dreadnought fired, an entire human battleship vanished in a flash of light. The explosion rippled across the fleet. Commander Reyes felt the shockwave. Her comms lit up with voices. "This is Falcon 3. We're hit. Aegis Unit 07 offline." She gritted her teeth. "All units, fall back behind lunar orbit. Regroup and repair." The fleet pulled back behind the moon's shadow. Engines burning red. On the Empire's bridge, Admiral Kreth finally smiled. "Run, little humans. Run." But the humans weren't running. They were planning in the shadows. The Aegis core calculated millions of possibilities per second. It studied every Empire ship's movement, every shield fluctuation, every weakness. Within minutes, it had a new strategy. Inside the command center, Dr. Joe's eyes widened. "The AI found a pattern," she said. "Their dreadnought shields recharge in timed intervals. For 3 seconds, they're exposed." General Hale leaned forward. "Tell the fleet. All ships target the gaps." The human fleet turned back. Their formation shifted like a living wave. As the Empire's dreadnoughts prepared to fire again, the humans struck. Dozens of ships launched synchronized attacks, hitting the weak points with perfect timing. One dreadnought exploded. Then another. The shockwaves rolled through the Empire's ranks. On the Bridge of Hope, Reyes whispered, "That's for Falcon 3. The Empire's fleet broke formation. Officers shouted in panic. "They're inside our perimeter. Shields failing. Admiral, we can't stop them." Kreth stared at the chaos before him, the once invincible fleet torn apart by a species he had mocked. "They're humans," he said softly, disbelief in his voice. "Just humans." In the command center on Earth, cheers erupted as data poured in. "The dreadnoughts are down. The enemy fleet is retreating." General Hale stood quietly, watching the glowing map. He didn't smile. "They'll be back," he said. This was only their first wave. Dr. Joe looked at him. "Then we'll be ready." Out in space, debris floated silently. Pieces of alien metal burned like falling stars. Commander Reyes sent one final transmission before returning to Earth orbit. "To any Imperial ship still listening, this is humanity. We don't seek war. But if you come again, we will not hold back." Her voice echoed across the system. Carried by broken satellites and fading signals, for the first time in its long history, the Empire had lost a battle, and not to another great power, but to the species they once called primitive. Admiral Kreth stared at the wreckage through his cracked viewport. His fleet was gone. His pride was shattered. He whispered to himself, "They were never weak. We were blind." The Empire's first defeat was only the beginning, because the humans had just shown the galaxy what they could do. When someone tried to take their home, the battle was over. The humans had won, But victory came with a heavy cost. Half of the human fleet was gone. Thousands of soldiers never came home. And deep in the void, the wreckage of both human and alien ships drifted silently, a reminder that peace never lasts. In the Empire's capital world, rage filled the throne room. The Emperor, a towering figure wrapped in golden armor, stared down at the surviving officers of the Seventh Fleet. Admiral Kreth stood before him, head bowed, uniform torn, eyes full of shame. "You failed." The Emperor's voice echoed through the vast hall. Kreth didn't speak. "You told me they were weak," the Emperor continued, his voice growing colder. "You told me the humans would surrender." Kreth fell to his knees. "Your Majesty, I underestimated them. They have weapons and strategies beyond their level of technology." Enough. The Emperor roared. "You lost to a species that still burns oil and metal? You've shamed the Empire." The guard stepped forward, but the Emperor raised his hand. "No. Let him live. Let him see what happens next." He turned to the generals. "Prepare the Imperial Armada. Every world, every ship, every soldier. Humanity will learn what it means to defy the Empire." The stars darkened as thousands of ships began to move. Planet after planet joined the Armada dreadnoughts. Carriers, bombers, troop transports. The largest fleet in galactic history was on the move. Billions of soldiers. Millions of weapons. Their goal was simple: erase Earth. Back on Earth, the victory celebrations had ended quickly. People had cheered, but deep down, they all knew this was only the beginning. General Hale stood on the observation deck of the orbital station Vigilance. Below him, Earth looked calm and peaceful. Dr. Joe joined him, carrying a datapad. "They're coming," she said quietly. "How many?" "Too many." She showed him the readings. The Empire's armada stretched across star maps like a wave of death. Hale took a deep breath. "We knew this would happen. Start Phase 2. Beneath the oceans, the Aegis Core pulsed with light. It had been studying the Empire's technology, learning, adapting, evolving. But this time, humanity couldn't fight alone. Dr. Joe sent encrypted messages to several hidden colonies, small alien species, who had also suffered under the Empire's rule. One by one, the replies came back. "We are with you. The humans helped our people. We will stand. Together, we can break the Empire." For the first time in galactic history, alien races began to unite, not under fear, but under hope. Weeks later, space near Earth shimmered again. The Empire had arrived. It wasn't a fleet this time. It was a storm. Thousands of massive ships surrounded the solar system. Their weapons glowing red. Admiral Kreth stood on the bridge once more, his face hard. "This time we will not underestimate them," he said. "This time, we will burn their world clean." In Earth Command, alarms blared. General Hale shouted, "All units, prepare for defense." This is not a drill. Human fleets moved into position, hundreds of ships forming a defensive wall around Earth and Mars. The alien allies arrived soon after. Smaller fleets joining the humans in orbit. Dr. Joe activated the Aegis Core. Mechanical voice echoed, "Defensive network online. Shield capacity, 98%. Human fleet synchronization, complete." The room fell silent for a moment. Then Hale said softly, "Let's show them what unity looks like." The first attack came fast. The Empire's dreadnoughts fired planet-cracking beams. Earth's new shield flared blue as the energy hit. The entire planet shook. But the shield held. Shields at 72%. A technician shouted, "Hold the line." Hall barked. Human ships retaliated, launching swarms of missiles and railgun rounds. The Empire's ships countered with plasma storms. Space became fire and light, a storm of war. On the UES Hope, Commander Reyes flew through chaos. "Left flank is collapsing." Her pilot yelled, "Redirect power to thrusters." "Keep firing." Her ship darted between explosions, striking enemy cruisers one after another. But the enemy number seemed endless. A friendly ship exploded nearby. Reyes clenched her fists. "We can't hold like this forever." Then, out of nowhere, a message came through. a deep alien voice. "This is the Varn Coalition. We fight beside you." Hundreds of alien ships warped into the battle, joining the human fleet. Their weapons tore through the Empire's lines. Reyes smiled. "Looks like we're not alone after all." Back in the Empire's flagship, Admiral Kreth watched the battle turn chaotic. "The Allied fleets? They're uniting," an officer shouted. "Impossible. They were enemies for centuries." Kreth's eyes narrowed. "The humans united them," he said quietly. "That's their real weapon. Unity." But the Emperor's voice came through the coms, filled with rage. "Continue the assault. Destroy everything. Leave nothing alive." The Admiral hesitated for the first time in his career. He looked at the burning stars, the countless lives dying for pride and revenge, and he whispered, "This is no victory. This is madness." The battle raged for hours. The shields of Earth began to crack. The human fleet was down to half its strength, but they refused to stop. General Hale's voice echoed through all channels. "This is Earth command to all forces. No retreat. No surrender. This is our home. And if we fall, we take them with us." Even as their ships burned, humans fought with fire in their hearts. When the dust settled, both fleets were shattered. The Empire's flagship limped away into the dark. The humans had survived barely. Admiral Kreth looked back at the blue planet on his screen. He whispered to himself, "They fight like demons. But not for power. They fight for each other." He turned away, his heart heavy. The Emperor would demand another attack. But deep down, Kreth knew something had changed. The humans were no longer a small world. They had become a force that could shake empires. The Empire had struck back with all its might. But in their fury, they awakened something far greater. Because the more the humans were pushed, the stronger they became. Space was silent again. The great battle was over, but the scars remained. The Earth still floated in the dark, half its shields gone, its orbit full of burning debris. Human ships drifted like wounded beasts, their hulls cracked and glowing red. But despite all the damage, humanity had survived in the underground command center. General Hale stood over a holographic map. Half the fleet markers were gone. The air was heavy with exhaustion and grief. Dr. Joe walked in, her face pale but calm. "They're retreating," she said. "The Empire's fleet is pulling back to regroup." Hale nodded slowly. "They'll be back. They always come back." She looked at him. "Then we don't wait for them this time." He turned. "What do you mean?" Her eyes shone with quiet fire. "We take the fight to them." The room fell silent. For centuries, humanity had defended, hidden, and survived. But now, something inside them had changed. The world had seen the Empire's cruelty. Billions of humans and aliens had suffered under their rule. And across the galaxy, whispers began to spread. Whispers of the humans who stood against the impossible. Soon, those whispers became a movement. Small fleets of rebels, smugglers, and freedom fighters reached out to Earth. "We heard what you did. You fought the Empire. And you lived. If you lead, we will follow." Inside the Aegis core, deep beneath the ocean, machines roared to life. The great AI system began designing new ships faster, stronger, and smarter. Dr. Joe stood beside the glowing core, watching holograms of new vessels forming. "Aegis showed progress," she said. The mechanical voice replied, "Phase 3 construction, 67% complete. Estimated launch time, 12 days. Hale crossed his arms. "We'll call it what it is," he said quietly. "A fleet built for survival." Joe nodded. "A fleet built for victory." 12 days later, space above Earth lit up. Hundreds of ships rose through the clouds, shining silver and black. With blue energy veins running along their hulls, each ship carried the new Aegis AI cores. Capable of adapting in real time, their names were carved on their sides. Honor, Vengeance, Liberty, Dawn, Horizon, and leading them all, the flagship Hope, now fully repaired. Stronger than before, Commander Reyes stood on its bridge once again, staring at the stars. Her voice was calm but fierce. "For the ones we lost, For every world that suffered, today, we take back the stars. Her crew cheered, their faces glowing in the blue light. The human armada had risen far across the galaxy. Admiral Kreth watched the reports. The humans were no longer hiding. They were expanding fast. Their ships had appeared near Empire-controlled worlds, freeing slaves and destroying outposts everywhere they went. The same message echoed across space. This is the human fleet. The age of empires is over. Kreth sat in silence, his eyes dark with thought. The Emperor wanted him to strike again, but Kreth had seen too much. They fight like ghosts, he said softly. They hit and vanish. They adapt. They learn. One of his officers asked, "Then what do we do, sir?" Kreth replied, "Pray they don't come for us next." And come they did. The human armada swept through border systems like a storm. Where the Empire enslaved, humans freed. Where the Empire conquered, humans rebuilt. Each victory inspired more planets to rise. Old enemies joined hands. Former slaves took up arms beside human soldiers. In one system, an alien child watched as human ships entered orbit. She turned to her mother and whispered, "The humans came." Her mother smiled for the first time in years. "Then we are safe." In the command center on Earth, reports flooded in. The colonies of Varn are free. The Drayan worlds have joined our side. The Empire is losing ground. Dr. Joe looked at General Hale. "We're not just fighting a war anymore. We're starting a revolution," Lay nodded. "And we'll finish it where it began, on their homeworld." On board Hope, Commander Reyes gathered her fleet captains. A hologram of the Empire's capital world glowed before them. A massive planet surrounded by rings of defense platforms. She spoke firmly, her voice carrying through the comms. "This is where they laughed at us. This is where they planned our destruction. No more running. No more fear. The Empire taught us how to fight. Now, we'll teach them what humans are capable of." The captains saluted. Engines roared to life. The fleet turned toward the Empire's stars. Admiral Kreth stood in his command room as alarms blared. "Sir, long-range scanners detect multiple human fleets entering our territory." He closed his eyes. "It has begun," he whispered. The Emperor's voice shouted through the channel, "Destroy them. Crush their worlds." Kreth didn't respond. He simply watched the stars ahead, where blue lights were growing brighter. The humans were coming in the darkness of space. Human armada moved silently, their engines glowing like fireflies. Each ship carried not only weapons, but something more powerful. The hope of 1,000 worlds. They were no longer fighting just to survive. They were fighting to end the Empire. The narrator's voice lowers. The Empire called them weak. The galaxy called them reckless. But when humanity stood together, they became unstoppable. And soon, the Empire would face the storm they had created. The humans had risen from ashes and built an armada that shook the stars. But the final battle was still ahead. The war for freedom was about to reach the Empire's throne. The stars were quiet, too quiet. Then, in the distance, blue light began to shimmer. One by one, human ships appeared out of hyperspace. Hundreds, then thousands, forming a wall of light and steel. The human armada had arrived at the heart of the Empire. At the center of the system floated the Empire's capital, a massive planet covered in golden towers and defense rings that glowed red like fire. Around it, millions of enemy ships waited, weapons charged, ready for war. And at the heart of it all, in a dark throne room, the Emperor watched. "Human fleet detected, my lord," said an officer. The Emperor stood slowly, his armor gleaming. "So they came to die." He turned to the holodisplay, showing Earth's forces approaching. "Show them no mercy. Burn them from the stars." Across the system, the Empire's armada began to move, a storm of energy, lasers, and missiles. On the flagship Hope, Commander Reyes stared at the chaos unfolding. "Here they come," her pilot said. "Hold formation," she ordered calmly. "Let them fire first." The enemy opened fire. Billions of beams lit up the void, tearing through space. The first wave hit the human shields, shaking the ships but not breaking them. Shields at 76%. An officer shouted, Reyes raised her voice. "Return fire?" The human fleet answered. Missiles, plasma cannons, and kinetic rounds lit up the dark. The battle turned into a storm of color and sound, stars blinking behind waves of explosions. Down in the Aegis core on Earth, Dr. Joe monitored everything. "Aegis, initiate full sync protocol," she said. The AI replied, "Synchronization complete. Neural link established." Suddenly, every human ship began moving as one, their actions perfectly timed, their weapons striking in coordinated precision. It wasn't just technology. It was trust. Millions of minds fighting together. One heartbeat across the stars, in the middle of the chaos. General Hale's voice echoed across all channels. "Remember who we are. We are humanity. We do not bow. We do not break." His words spread through the fleet like fire. Even the alien allies felt it. The Varn, the Drayan, the HFY, all fighting side by side. For the first time, the galaxy stood united against one enemy. The Empire's ships began to fall, one after another, their massive cruisers breaking apart under human fire. But the Emperor still had one weapon left, deep beneath the capital planet. A superweapon charged a cannon capable of destroying entire fleets in a single shot. "Target the human flagship." The Emperor commanded. Energy began to build, glowing brighter than a sun. Every scanner across the system picked it up. On the Hope, alarms screamed. Massive energy spike detected. Commander Reyes clenched her fists. "We can't dodge that." She turned to her crew. "Then we aim right back." She sent coordinates to every ship. "All cannons target the super weapon core." Everything we've got. The humans fired. Thousands of beams, missiles, and kinetic rounds struck the capital's surface. The planet's shields cracked, light burst through, tearing cities apart. Then the super weapon fired. A beam of red energy lanced through space, slicing through dozens of ships. Hope was hit, alarms flashed, fire spread across the bridge. "Reyes." Hole shouted over comms. "I'm still here," she coughed, smoke filling the air. "We're not done yet." She turned to her pilot. "Ram it." The pilot's eyes widened. "Ma'am, do it." The Hope's engines flared blue. The ship shot forward at full speed, straight toward the capital. Admiral Kreth watched from afar, stunned. There. Sacrificing themselves? He realized what was happening, and something inside him broke. He turned to his crew. "All ships. Cover them. Protect the human flagship." His officers hesitated. "But sir, that's an order." Kreth shouted for the first time. Imperial ships turned their weapons on their own fleet, firing on the Emperor's defenses to clear a path for the humans. The Hope pierced through the last layer of fire. Engines burning, hull melting. Commander Reyes looked at her crew, tired, bleeding, but smiling. "Tell Earth," she said softly. "We finished what we started." The ship hit the surface. The explosion was blinding. A wave of blue light spread across the planet, swallowing everything. When the light faded, the superweapon was gone. The capital's golden towers lay in ruins. The Emperor's throne was empty. Silence. Across the galaxy, Imperial ships stopped firing. Messages flooded the channels. The Emperor is gone. The capital has fallen. The war is over. General Hale stood in the command room, his eyes wet.
Ow.
Dr. Joe whispered, "They did it." Hell nodded. They all did. Days later, as the smoke cleared, surviving human and alien ships gathered over the ruined planet. No more empires. No more chains. A new alliance was born, built not on fear, but on unity and hope. Admiral Kreth stood on the surface, surrounded by human soldiers. He removed his insignia and dropped it to the ground. "I was wrong about your kind," he said. General Hale looked at him. "We were all wrong about each other." They shook hands. In the distance, the first sunrise touched the ruins of the old empire. It was not the end. It was a beginning. The narrator's voice slows, deep and emotional. The Empire laughed at humanity. But in the end, humanity taught the galaxy to stand together. They fought not for glory, not for power, but for the right to be free. And in the silence after the storm, One truth remained clear. Humans never stopped fighting for hope. The Empire had fallen. But far beyond the stars, something ancient was awakening. Humanity's greatest story was only beginning.